Well, guess what is going to happen tonight? We're going to talk about Abraham and Sarah, and there's a new character in our story, finally a long-awaited son for Abraham and Sarah. So exactly a year later, just like God promised, Sarah got pregnant and had a baby, and they named him Isaac, just like God told him to. And in my Bible, the verse, chapter 21 of Genesis, verse 2 says, at the appointed time. So God has an appointed time for everything. God's timing is perfect. He's never early and he's never late. He's always right on time. Remember that. And he makes promises, he keeps them. He promised Abraham and Sarah a son. And guess how old Abraham was when he had Isaac? He was 100. Wow. So when Sarah had Isaac, she said, God has given me laughter. This is something funny, an old woman having a baby. Who would have thought? But only God would do this. God does have a sense of humor. So Sarah, in her old age, gave birth to Isaac. And she said, God gave me laughter. And when people hear my story, they will laugh with me. That's what she said. But after that, she wasn't so happy because Hagar and Ishmael are still right there. And one day she sees Ishmael. And you know, brothers, they don't get along sometimes. But Ishmael was picking on Isaac. And she decided she didn't like Ishmael. And Ishmael didn't need to be in her house anymore. And she told Abraham, Hagar and Ishmael need to go somewhere else. And Abraham was sad because Ishmael was his son. And he was worried about them. But God said, don't worry about them. Do what Sarah says. I will take care of them. And I promise I will make Ishmael a great nation. So Abraham got up and he packed some food and some water for Hagar. And he put him in a backpack for her, and she carried her son, and she left. And she went down a little ways until she ran out of water and food. And then she was worried that she was going to starve to death. And she sat down, and she put her baby under a bush. You know, the place where they lived was like desert, and it was very hot, and the water ran out too fast. And she was afraid they were going to die. She put the baby under a bush, and then she went a way away where she didn't have to look at him because she said, I don't want to see him die. And she started crying out to God. And God heard the baby crying. He wasn't a baby, he was a little boy, but God heard him crying. And God came and he talked to Hagar and he says, you're going to be okay. I'm going to make a great nation of your son. I'm going to take care of you. And when she looked up, she saw a well. So there was a well where she could get water. And I'm sure she had stuff to make food, and she was able to get somewhere close. It says that she was able, when he was old enough to have a wife, she went and got him a wife from Egypt. So, you know, he was okay. And he is a great nation today. Today he is, part of his descendants are the ones who are always warring with the children of Israel, with the nation of Israel. So we'll talk more about that in the next video. But next video is going to be another exciting story. So come back and listen. Bye-bye.